Planning Board of the Town of Brunswick for September 5th, 2024. If everybody please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our agenda this evening, as it was posted on the town website and the town board, is as follows. Number 1, Haas, site plan and special use permit. Applicant seeks to construct metal buildings for self-storage on property at the corner of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road. This involves a public hearing to commence at 7 p.m. Justin Haas is the applicant. Number 2, Marie's Views LLC, site plan and minor subdivision. Applicant seeks minor subdivision approval and site plan approval to construct a drive-through restaurant and retail building on the eastern portion of the site and a second drive-through restaurant on the western portion of the site at 727, 737 Brunswick Road and 4 Mohawk Avenue. Marie's Views LLC is the applicant. Number 3, Riser, waiver of subdivision and minor subdivision. Applicant seeks a lot line adjustment for property located at 25 Penny Royal Lane. Henry Riser is the applicant. Number 4, Sole Source Power, site plan. Applicant seeks to construct a community solar collector facility on approximately 67 acres of land on property located at 6163 Gypsy Road. Sole Source Power LLC is the applicant. Number 5, Boomhauer, waiver of subdivision. Applicant seeks to subdivide 7.22 acre parcel to create 2 new lots, 4.02 acres and 3.20 acres on property located at 103 Krieger Lane. Todd Boomhauer and Kathy Boomhauer are the applicants. And number 6, CBE North American, waiver of subdivision site plan and special use permit. Applicant seeks to subdivide 99.51 acre parcel to create 2 new lots at 24.96 acres and 74.55 acres and construct 2 community solar facilities on property located at 511 Chesney Avenue Extension. CBE North America Incorporated is the applicant. So you can see we have a rather full agenda tonight, and we'll start with a public hearing for the Haas site plan and special use permit. At this time, I will review the procedure for our public hearings. The purpose of a public hearing is to hear concerns, comments, and views from the general public regarding a particular proposal and application. All public hearings are electronically recorded, and a written record of the proceedings is generated. In most cases, this written record, is included with the minutes of the planning board regular meeting, which is usually conducted immediately after the public hearing. The applicant will be required to respond to all concerns and comments made at the public hearing, and subsequently the planning board will consider all concerns and comments when evaluating the application to ensure that the applicant has addressed all of the issues in question. The public hearing will be conducted as follows. The notice of public hearing will be read by the planning board attorney. Next, the applicant will give a brief presentation of the proposal and will provide all updates on the application. Upon completion of the applicant's remarks, the chairman of the planning board will recognize persons from the public, and these individuals will allow to speak and offer their comments, concerns, and views. Since the proceedings are public hearing are electronically recorded, It is requested that all speakers step forward and use the microphone at the podium. All speakers will give their name and address for the record. Just as a reminder, this public hearing is for the Haas site plan and special use permit only. So at this time, I will have the planning board attorney, Andy Gilchrist, read the notice of public hearing.
Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the planning board of the town of Brunswick at 7 p.m. on Thursday, September 5, 2024, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180. To review the special use permit and site plan application submitted by Justin Haas in connection with the construction of metal self-storage units on property located at the corner of New York State Route 7 and Carroll's Grove Road. Copies of the applications and supporting documents are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing, and the notice was published in the Eastwick Press, posted on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to owners of properties located within 300 feet of the project site.
Thank you. At this time, will the applicant come up and give a presentation, if you would, address all your comments and drawings towards the public? And you need a,
What's up? No, we see.
Turn the microphone around.
very good, or you can take it off the stand.
Oh, perfect. The fan tonight.
Can everybody hear me with that fan?
It's hard though. I'm old though.
Hear me okay? Good evening, everybody. I'm Matt from Park Engineering, here on behalf of Justin Haas to present the proposed Route 7 self-storage facility. This parcel is located on the southwestern corner, of Route 7, Carroll's Grove Road in the town. It's approximately 2.7 acres. To see on the site layout plan, we're proposing a driveway off of Carroll's Grove Road, leading into the self-storage buildings. We have stormwater management basins proposed here and here. The project, which I can brief tonight because we have a full agenda. The project did obtain front and rear setback variances from the zoning board. The front variance that was granted was 42 feet. The rear variance that was granted was 36 feet. Again, total building square footage proposed is about 29,000 square feet, which was reduced in the last submission to the town. We provide additional spacing between structures to aid in snow removal. No public utilities proposed servicing the project because they are not climate controlled self-storage or standard self-storage buildings. We did tonight provide the planting plan and additional information for that was requested at the last meeting. So with that, I'll turn it over to the public.
Okay, at this time, if there's anyone who wishes to come up and offer any comments, have any questions for the applicant?
Hello, Tom Daly, 1356 Route 7, right next to this property. A couple of questions. A proposed wall behind it, retaining wall. Retaining wall behind it. How is that going to drain the flow surface so that it can go up the hill? If that hits this wall, it's going to flood down. It's not going to work.
Yeah. Do you want me to finish this comment, or want me to address them as you go?
That's entirely up to you.
Okay. Yeah. So there's existing drainage swale here that's already been established. That's shown on the existing conditions plan.
there's swale shown right here, that would direct surface runoff. So the intent is to, the wall will be tapered, so drainage will continue to run. Anything that currently runs through that swale, will continue to run in that swale. Same thing out there. Yeah, this is what you mean. So this swale is going to remain, so no grading proposed within that swale. So runoff will continue to pass along down here as it currently is that. It's currently drained out. That's
There is an open ditch.
yeah, we're not proposing any grading on there. That's correct.
Should I just kill the fan?
One of you is gonna have to speak into the mic, is that?
I got nothing.
I mean,
I was counting, it's a squiggly line that goes down behind the property and comes onto our property. I was just wondering what that represented.
okay,
Yeah, that's the existing tree line. The squiggly line here is the existing tree line.
So there's no trees over here.
Yes, yeah, this is that, on the baseline, I think this is just kind of brushy in this area, correct?
You're not coming any farther over than you already cut down?
We're not proposing any work past the property line.
But there is no, if you come to this line, there is nothing in
As far as if brush will be maintained there?
There's nothing there, there is stuff there now, if you come to the line
Yes.
and cut it down, then there's nothing between us and this.
Okay, there's trees in this area, is there not? Here. Okay, I see there's a couple of trees here. Brushy area here. Okay. Yeah, so right now, grading, you see these, the thick black lines. That's the proposed extended grading. Fence to be installed for security and that type of thing. But if a buffer can be maintained here, we can certainly suggest that to the applicant, to maintain as much of a
And if
buffer
there's
as possible.
trees necessary on the front of the property along the seventh, why are there no trees going to be planted on the other sides?
This was made as a condition of the zoning variance for the setbacks.
Is that something, we don't want to look at that.
Okay, that was not suggested at the time of the variance.
This is on, that's noted.
There was a public hearing for the zoning variance as well, and that was not made a condition of that approval.
All right, I think that's it.
Did you attend the public hearing for the
Did
zoning?
address that.
We did address it. I guess.
Yeah, but what are we gonna have as a boundary? What's going to protect us from looking at that? It was brought up. We never really got a good answer.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
think we got a chain link fence at the end.
yeah, that, I can't speak for the meeting that you were at because the applicant had prior
So
consultant
you
at that
got
time.
some-
Yeah, so, but the conditions of the zoning variance approval did not require screening along this line, but we can certainly discuss that with the applicant.
I think we'll do the thing to do. Okay. Thank you.
Just before anybody else comes up, just procedurally, the applicant will get a copy of the public hearing and will be required to offer the planning board a written response to all those comments. And then we review those responses to make sure that they are in order. So this process is a little bit more involved than just illustrating here what would happen, especially when he was not the engineer involved with the zoning variances. Is there anybody else wishes to come up and ask any questions, have any comments?
Might as well.
All right.
Good afternoon, everybody. Andy Ross, Andy Ross, 266 Carroll's Grove. I heard, I know you know on this, so the water comes down, this is the first I've seen it. So is there any plan for having the water that's coming off the hill go towards just the south side, or is it going to go towards Carroll's Grove as well?
So the intent is to basically maintain drainage as it currently is. There's a high point somewhere in this area.
Okay,
We're
it's
drained
right about 109 feet.
Those are proposed elevations, correct?
So what are the real, what are they going to be that they're proposed? So it's going to be 109 feet?
Yes.
Okay.
So currently, water's caught in swales, it's at around and around. So the
So,
intent-
so you get 114 here, 109, so everything is going to go to the south. Nothing's going towards Carroll's Grove?
114 is existing.
Okay.
Yeah, so Carroll's
So
Grove.
you don't have proposed on this side. There's no elevation. You have elevation here at 110 at the road.
This drops in. You see drops in off Carroll's Grove, so nothing's really gonna be grading. This-
Nothing's going towards Carroll's Grove. Everything is
No.
going to the south.
No,
Okay.
correct. Everything basically, from this parcel is gonna sheet towards the, I'm gonna call it the northwest, here towards this existing,
This
this
is
is
a
a very
wall, right?
large CO2 swale.
That's a wall.
Yep.
Okay, so everything on the east side of the wall is going to go to the south side towards the Daly's property, go through a swell and come out to the retaining ponds down here. So everything, right?
Everything that currently comes through, there's about a high point here, where some of this goes this way, some of this
So
goes
that's-
this way.
So here means 109 foot on this drawing, okay? So, again, I'm trying to define on the site and off the site. So,
Yep.
Off the site, you've got a retaining wall, and everything's gonna go to the south towards the Daly's property.
So the retaining wall is on the property.
I understand that, but it's gonna basically, so everything is coming in off the site, onto the site, it's gonna hit the wall and go to the south towards the Daly's. Is that your proposal?
So currently, everything that runs into this area is directed by a swale and a French drain. So upslope runoff.
So
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
around the
below grade, and the swale is at grade.
Correct.
Okay, so have you calculated how much flow that is gonna be? So we have two things that we're concerned with. We're concerned with the water coming off the hill, before the hill, or before the wall, and then we're concerned about the water on the site.
Andy, let me just say one thing.
Sure.
The applicant is required to submit a stormwater plan.
Okay, I thought that was included in this. I'm just seeing this.
I don't think that has been reviewed by the engineer,
Okay,
our engineer at this point.
okay,
It's currently being reviewed.
okay. So I'm not trying to, I'm trying to get determination for
There's a lot of
on-site.
surface water in the spring.
Yes, right, exactly. You know, I live up
It's
there.
very wet.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about, you know, off-site and, or I'm coming from off-site and on-site where the water's gonna go, so.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
currently everything, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So that's the one thing we're concerned, one thing we're concerned with as a group. The other thing is the aesthetics. I have not seen anything on the coloring or aesthetics of the proposal. I don't know if it was presented today. I didn't see it in any prior documentation, because.
You got it?
Okay, when was that presented?
So the,
Okay, so, right.
as a condition of the
Okay, so
variance, it was determined that the buildings were gonna be gold or a bronze, and brown in coloring.
okay,
So that's essentially the style of building. There's an elevation you can see on the second sheet there.
okay.
Um,
We're going to here.
That's what the applicant would like to propose as fencing. So previously, chain fencing was discussed, but he's since fallen in love with that style of fence. So wanted to present that to the board.
Okay, so the fencing is gonna go along this line here, so we will be able to see through. All right, so what I'm concerned with, and excuse me, but my businesses are, I would say it nicely, in downtown Detroit, close to the hood. Okay, so I see activities that are, not wanted in this area, so, the applicant had a place in North Troy that I'm very familiar with that had criminal activity very close to me. And I don't want that here. So I want to make sure that we're not creating a screen that would be, again, I'm trying to say this nicely, so, that would be a hot point for criminal activity for certain things,
Nicely.
okay? So, I
So,
want to make sure, I don't want dealing drugs out of here, okay? It'd be really nice to have a little 10-foot and do what you gotta do, all right?
Yep.
So,
All right.
As you know me, so this is great, thank you very much. Is there anything on this gate? I don't see anything in this application that states what the gate would be.
Supposed to be an electric slide gate.
Okay, open, or is it solid?
It would probably be a chain link stuff.
Okay, even though that's not a chain link gate.
Yeah, it'd be a black chain link fence, most likely. It might have rods depending on the.
It's a
It's
single back.
grading, site plan is on the side.
Okay, what's this?
So that's proposed.
Site plan's on the side, grading's on the other
Okay.
side.
So you have the one, so you're gonna put how deep is this stormwater gonna be close to Carroll's
Surface, finish grading is relatively shallow.
Okay,
That's, bioretention basin, so it would be filled with about 3 to 4 feet of, very specific planting soil. And then,
you're gonna have fabric on the bottom?
yes,
Okay, so if that, how do you calculate the storage facility for that? How do you put capacity?
for, New York State DEC, the draft standards for, green infrastructure. So, everything on the site's been designed for DEC requirements. So DEC is currently in the process of updating their stormwater design manual. And so they recommended that designers start, employing those practices. So that's how that, was calculated in size.
So it looks like you've got, on the west side, it looks like you have some type of, is that at grade stone runoff, or is that?
So this is an out control structure here.
That was control, okay, so is it like a weir?
Structure.
The concrete structure?
It's a concrete structure.
Okay, but is it greater?
There's that.
Is it a weir to basically control the rate?
There's-
The height, so then you have a certain height, it's
We-
going over?
If it overtops, there's a stone over there.
Okay, and that's gonna go towards the Route 7?
Yep.
Which has a, it's buried in that culvert, isn't it? Is that
Pretty much open ditch.
That's open there? Okay, so you're basically diverting into Route 7?
Yeah, it's going to continue to drain as it always has. So there's
Lastly, my concern was that there was no outdoor, everything was contained inside the structures with no outdoor parking. So no trailers, no boats, no et cetera. I will make sure that that is upheld. That's my last time. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Okay. Jim, you want to come up and say something?
Yeah, Jim Tasha, 387 Brunswick Road. I was at the meeting last week, or the last meeting, and then you said there's no on-site electricity? Is that no electrical service?
The only, so there's not electricity proposed to the buildings. The only
Okay.
electricity would be to power the gate.
Okay.
So there would be one service coming to power the gate and the pad, I'm sorry. the
For
word-
security?
Yeah. So people could come in and they could punch in their float or rent or pay for it. So
Okay.
From that.
And the other thing, what about outdoor lighting, security lighting among the buildings?
Yep, so lighting is proposed along the buildings is all downward facing lighting, full car off lighting. That will be motion activated,
And what's the source of electricity?
solar.
Okay, all right. Inside the buildings,
No lighting.
nothing at all?
Correct.
Okay, seems inconvenient, but maybe unsafe. Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to come up and make any comments, have any questions?
One more question, sir. Are there going to be storage units on this end, with doors on this end, to access the units?
I believe there will be annuals. I can check with the applicant if the building designs haven't been finalized yet, but I believe at this time it will be annuals.
That means we will have lights over there. Another motion.
Yeah, downward facing,
So what is-
compliant lighting. Yeah, I want to be clear, it's not gonna be like a spotlight, 24 feet in the air shining towards the property, so be downward facing towards the paved area there immediately in front of the heat units.
All right, I'd just like to keep it as country as we can. Yes.
Anyone else wish to come up and make any comments? Have any issues?
They have to keep that.
Right. Cuts off.
Once again, the applicant will have to respond in writing to each one of these comments.
Excuse me, just one minute. I'm just wondering, are there, specific hours of operation?
Yes. That was also decided, and, I'll be able to respond to that.
Okay, and then, so the off hours, the keypad would be shut off and they could use it, or we could do it.
Right.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, thanks.
Okay, is there anyone else wish to make any comments at this time? If there aren't any, I will have a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second? Okay. In discussion, is there any desire to have any written responses for any days, or is that not necessary?
I think the question is having an extended written comment period.
Yeah.
The applicant will respond to the public comments tonight.
Okay. Okay, any other further discussion? All those in favor of closing the public hearing? Any opposed? Okay. Now we are going to open up the regular business meeting, at which time cost site plan and special use permit will be the first on our agenda. But before we do that, we have to take care of a little internal business. And that is to review the minutes of our last meeting. That's not our last meeting. It was August 15th. Does everybody have an opportunity to look at those, and are there any additions, corrections to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, then I will make a motion to accept the minutes as they were submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Moving along to our agenda, hot site plan special use permit. Come on back up. Okay, you've had the public hearing, heard the comments.
Yes, sir.
I know you addressed quite a few of the questions at the time. Like I said, we would require in this particular place and site plans in particular that they have a response in writing.
Yep.
Um,
Those will include the minutes.
They will be in the minutes. The minutes will be available probably early next week.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay. We did get a response from the county where they have an opportunity, the Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has an opportunity to review these. The response was, after having carefully reviewed the information submitted as part of the subject referral, the Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has determined that the proposal does not have any major impact on county plans and local consideration shall prevail. So that's been taken care of. You already have the approval for the two setbacks. That was done back in June of last year or something. That was quite a while ago, wasn't it?
More recently, I think.
More recently?
Yeah.
Okay. And, okay. Now, there is a thing about the stormwater plan that was submitted. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Wayne Bonesteel, our engineer, to comment on that.
So we are scrutinizing the drainage, the grading, and the storm water pollution prevention plan. Now, I know that an engineer from my office has spoken to you about some bits of questions and comments already. We had a discussion.
because the site is so flat, Lauren and I kind of talked about maybe having more spot grade or something on there, so that we can kind of see what the changes in the grades are. Sure. It's so flat, we're not going to get a lot of contours, proposed contours across the site, so. We also talked a little bit about, the stormwater structures and the type of treatment that they're proposing. She mentioned something about and how the new stormwater design manual kind of eliminates those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can check into that and plans for some other metric besides lot farm. We hope to wrap up our review of the grading and drainage early next week. As soon as I have all that information that I'll hear right over to you. Review it and respond to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Something the board may consider is some additional screening. Besides that, it's along Route 7. I'm not even sure why we have to screen along Route 7. Maybe we can take some of those trees and move them over to the side.
Well, it's something to consider. I mean,
Why are you screening Route 7? I don't understand. This is my personal professional opinion.
well, it should, yeah, there could be could maybe divert some of that over to the other side and not have,
Dave, can you
kind
see
of
it from your
defer
house?
some of the
What's
costs.
Can you
that?
see it from your house?
From my house?
Yeah.
No. I can see the other one, not that.
That's where we are with the review.
Yeah, and I would just note on that, Wayne and the board, those were conditions of the zoning board and granting the variance, so those do
Okay.
need to be complied with to meet the zoning board.
Can we add additional screening though to,
You can certainly, that's within your discretion on your site
yeah, I
plan,
mean,
special use permit.
on top
review.
of what the,
That's correct.
I'm not really suggesting that only on the screen. but
Yeah.
remove some of that.
That was, again, within the discretion of the zoning board, and that's what they
I
decided.
think in
So
the minutes, it also says if there's any changes to their conditions, that
goes back.
goes back.
so I guess the screening on Route 7 stays. Unless you
Well,
want to
you
go
could-
backwards.
Let's go back to the board.
Unless you want to go backwards. All right,
What about the screening along the property line?
well, that's something we can,
We can add that, we don't
We can
have
add
to
that.
go back to the zoning board for that?
they don't have to go back to the zoning board for that.
No, recall the zoning board dealt with setback variances for front and rear.
Okay.
The balance of this site and then the full layout, that's within your review. And if you determine that additional screening should be required under your site plan and special use permit review jurisdiction, that's available to you.
Okay,
Can you describe to me again what's going on with the retaining wall?
Sure. Yeah.
I couldn't see nor hear what was going on in that discussion.
Let me bring up the grading plan. Might be a little more quick. So, along this property line, we're gonna need a retaining wall.
Could you list the elevations, please, when you're referring to it?
The elevations of,
That'd be cool. The retaining wall and where the ponds are. I want to make sure you're not trying to flow water uphill.
I assure you, we're not attempting to do that. If we do that, I wouldn't be here.
Is
Retaining
that
wall.
that dark line?
Correct, yeah. Dark line here, so existing grade in that area is somewhere around 114, 115 at the high point. We're going to, we're proposing 109s here.
wastewater is going to be split to run out. This portion of the project is going to be treated by the fire retention area. And then for the rest of the project, to come and be treated by proposed fire pond. Upslope runoff is currently caught in a swale and directed around this way. So the intent is to maintain a swale at the top of that wall. Correct. Correct. Continue to convey that runoff around. And similarly, there's a break point somewhere up here, I believe, that will be conveyed around, likely a culvert will be installed here and run, convey the runoff to where it currently goes.
So your runoff calculations, does it include the area beyond the property line? What's the term I'm looking for? The
Yeah,
drainage area?
Currently that's bisected by that drainage ditch. So we're proposing to continue to convey that around the site, or in this case, be through the site, pipe through the site on this end. To maintain flow through the site, currently to the
But you calculated what that flow is?
from this area here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head. Okay. Yeah, we did look at that upslope area for the sizing of the conveyance. So, and your flow.
The existing drainage ditch is not much to handle a lot of runoff.
Well, he's got to prove to me that whatever he does has to handle that.
Because it's just a narrow, open ditch that winds through. And with a strong current of water, it's gonna wash away, fill in.
How long has that ditch been there currently?
It's been, that ditch has been there for quite a while, but then Butch incorporated the French drain into that ditch. His is all covered with stone, and once it goes into that ditch, it's all open. So it's not gonna handle
You're
large
going to put
runoff.
drainage behind that wall anyway. And you get hydrostatic pressure in that wall.
Yeah.
All this is gonna be analyzed through the stormwater plan, correct?
Well,
If they have to,
yes, but
if they
not
have to,
necessarily the wall behind the drain the wall, not necessarily.
Yeah, that would certainly be drainage. Agreed to make sure you're not having building behind it. That's gonna
How tall
We are
is
lower than
the
that whole property.
How tall is the wall?
At the highest point here, it's somewhere in the ballpark of 5 feet, 5.5 feet.
And it goes, tapers down to,
Yeah, as it starts meeting grade, it can taper down. Correct.
and it's inside the chain link?
Yes. Yes.
So this kind of crown in the middle, and it's gonna drain both ways, if I understand correctly, and you're gonna have a drain that goes around to this ditch, I guess.
Mhm.
And then where is the detention area for the water that flows through? Where does that water go?
So that water continues to be conveyed. Currently, it's conveyed right in this area to the roadside ditch. So the intent is just to maintain that flow as it has been.
Okay.
And then all runoff that's generated on site from the proposed impervious surfaces is going to drain and be directed towards the stormwater management areas for treatment prior to discharge.
So what's the elevation of these folks' house compared to this property? I mean, are they above it, below it?
Below it.
So, well, but keep in mind on this side of the property, the southeast side of the property, we're proposing to drop the grade quite a bit. Currently, the site slopes from, let's just say, south to north. We're intending to cut, fill, and flatten out the site. So this part of the site is going to be lower. Currently, there's a swale between the two properties along the property line, or dances across the property line at points. That's going to stay in place and continue to convey runoff as it happens. So the intent is not to direct any runoff from the impervious surfaces towards this property. If that makes sense.
Say that again?
The intent is not to direct any runoff from the proposed site towards this property. That's all to be collected by the stormwater management system and treated and discharged directly into the ditch.
Is the entire site that's being proposed impervious? In other words, is it blacktop and metal roof? So you're gonna have 100% runoff from the entire development of that site?
Everything that you see that's shaded gray or the kind of golden brown color is proposed either paving or roofs.
Okay, so it's impervious, that's a yes. All right, so and I'm sorry, I just saw it for the first time a few minutes ago. That paving goes up to how far from the fence and property line?
This is scale here, the 30 scale. So 15, 20 feet, maybe at the tightest point.
Okay, so you've got roughly 2 acres of property that's 100% impervious, plus the water coming off the hill. What have you done the calculations on for?
Andy, let me interrupt you.
Sorry, I know I'm supposed to.
The public hearing portion.
I know it's
of the
close,
meeting
I'm sorry, I know.
Is
I know.
over. I appreciate your questions and so forth and so on. But a lot of these questions are going to be handled by the stormwater management
Okay,
report and plan. That's what Wayne is going to be addressing. You know, the impervious, area, so forth and so on, what's generated there and so forth. So appreciate your questions, but we're
I
out of the
understand.
public hearing.
I understand. It's hard to see something when it's just presented within hours of public comment.
Okay.
So,
It was submitted
Yeah.
to due time.
No, I'm not saying that you have to leave, but what I'm saying is that we are, this is now the meeting session,
I understand.
and it's our opportunity to address these questions. Is there any other questions from the board? Engineering? Go ahead.
Did the plans get presented to the fire department?
I talked to the fire chief. Their only request is they want a knockbox on there.
Did you get a letter from them?
No, I can ask them.
Okay. Do we need a letter for the record on that, Andy?
As long as Mike has spoken to them, we will know that.
Okay. All right.
I would like to see the detail for the gate. It appears that it's quite large, quite long. Just want to understand how that operates.
Sure.
And the graphic that you presented for the planting, I still have a question about. I had a question last meeting. Plants are 4 to 6 feet apart in this graphic that you represented, but I'm not sure that that's what's represented on the site plan.
Yeah, that is, those are the pictures that were submitted to the zoning board. So we just want to make sure to use the applicant provided those to us, provide to the planning board to make sure it was the same pictures being presented to the board. And yes, so it would, you wouldn't, at the spacing required, you wouldn't really see the trees. So this is not an accurate representation of the spacing. It would be 4 to 6 feet on side.
Okay. So if you could provide a number at that spacing, and when the building department goes out to verify that plants have been installed, they can count the number of plants.
So is this where we ask them to add plantings up on the south side of that?
It's just
Coming up
that.
Okay. Comparable spacing, any requests by the board for type of plantings, if it would be like an arborvitae in that area as well, or
Yeah,
The deer will be very happy.
Well, that'd be deer. Yeah, deer
something that's a
resistant.
little bit more deer.
I've read they claim to be deer resistant.
There are
This is
some
right there.
that are.
They're inside the fence.
Yep. Frozen inside.
I have one question. Does the applicant intend to build all the units at one time, or is there a phasing on this at all?
Yeah, so the goal is to begin with this first row of units, and then the second row, and then the last unit.
There is no intentions of while there's units being built in spaces where there's supposed to be units, they're not gonna have outdoor storage or anything like that, right?
No.
I think that was asked by someone about, I think you asked about outside storage, SUVs or anything like that. Not SUVs, RVs.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was discussed at a prior meeting too, with the applicant, when I was not his
Yeah.
consultant.
Yeah, I don't think we want to see any vehicles out there, no boats or anything. That's not what this site is supposed to be. That's why I asked if he's gonna put one unit in and start renting it and so
I
forth
see.
and so on. Whether he's gonna have open space there for a period of time and wants to, have some revenue for it. So,
Yeah, the goal is to, as quickly as possible, get all the units installed at the start of that first row.
I know doesn't come under our jurisdiction. Is there gonna be any outside signage or anything for this, storage unit facility?
Oh, proposed signage, yes, I believe, they discussed a what is it? The ZBA discussed a 4x6 sign, off of, Carroll's Grove Road.
Okay.
Towards the entrance. So we'll be sure to note that on the location on the plan.
Okay. You have a little work to do with, the responses at the public hearing. Wayne is gonna be reviewing the stormwater plan. Once those two things are accomplished, do you think we'll be able to have the written responses by our next meeting?
Let me see, that's
The next meeting would be on the 19th, I believe.
19th. The written responses, I think so.
Okay.
So, we could certainly let you know if we weren't able to make that, but I think we could give you a response.
I mean, we'll put you on the agenda for it, and hopefully, Wayne will be able to make comments on the stormwater, and those will be complete. Just some effort to try to move this forward.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I appreciate it.
So we'll put you on the agenda for the 19th.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the board's time.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice night. Okay, next on our agenda is Marie's Muse. Okay, you're coming up here.
I might see this window.
I got it.
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good evening.
Okay, before we start, we did receive a letter from a Kimberly Jensen, 19 Roberts Drive. And this is expressing her concerns about the environmental assessment form completed by you. Should we hold this letter until?
I think just note that it's been received and will be made part of the public hearing.
Yes. Okay. And, all right. You have the floor.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Tim McGoller, on behalf of the applicants. Along with me is Colton here, Hill representing Mary's Muse. We're here in follow-up to our meeting on August 18th, where we dove into the secret review a little bit on this project and the part 2 preparation. As a reminder, we do need to close out secret before this project can move to the next phase of review for site plan review and public hearing. As we were going through the secret part 2 findings at our last meeting, we were challenged to provide more information in regards to 2 items. Interim or short-term traffic impacts and what the grand opening plan may be for this Chick-fil-A user and also some further investigation about stormwater and on-site geotechnical investigation. So since then, we have had a call with Mr. Bonesteel, his office, to discuss the stormwater and some of our geotechnical findings to date. We submitted some additional boring logs for their review. And then separately, we also submitted to this board a grand opening narrative that really documents and shows Chick-fil-A's commitment to working with E-Town and local emergency personnel during the grand opening phase. And also an exhibit that shows some of the circulation patterns that can be changed on site to accommodate a higher than normal drive-through queue should the first 2 weeks of opening require. We've seen in some other locations at openings, the demand can be higher than average for opening over 2 to 4 week time span. So it is good to have a plan in place to make sure that short interim impacts are properly mitigated at opening. At this point, I turn it over to the board. We're waiting for any further discussion as it relates to secret and part 2.
Wayne, would you have any immediate comments?
We did have a meeting, that was a good meeting to discuss some of the intricacies of the drainage and stormwater. We did provide some additional geotechnical information, borings. They were taken before the current site plan was in its current configuration. So we didn't really hit all the points where kind of needed more information, specifically where the stormwater practices are going to be. We are currently looking at the information that was provided, the additional information that was provided for the subsurface investigation. We did get a email from Bill Bradley today, the stormwater coordinator, with a few comments. I wanted to kind of digest that before I send it on to the applicant.
Okay.
He does have some concerns about the amount of cut and presence of rock in some areas. And trying to kind of analyze where the rock is in its current state, at the current grades, and where it's going to end up. We've done preparing the site, so I want to kind of verify some of what Bill's saying before I turn it over to the applicant. We are also looking at it. I think we're going to probably require a little bit more investigation based on the information that you gave us. To really determine where the water table is, where the elevation of the rock is, whether the stormwater practices are viable in the areas that they're proposing based on that information. We also received the grand opening phase plan. It's pretty comprehensive. I think we're good with what you submitted. Does have a lot of information in there about how they're going to manage traffic during the opening phase.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at.
One of the concerns I have is where is DOT on all this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so DOT has reviewed all the traffic studies to date. They've accepted the proposed mitigation for the traffic signal and offsite roadwork improvements. They have acknowledged the question of whether or not we can tie in a drainage connection out to the street. They gave opinion feedback of, we prefer not having the connection, but need to review it further. If we are proposing a connection, what I anticipate they will do is once the off-site mitigation plans are prepared, the traffic signal, the road improvements, the testing improvements, they will funnel all of that, including the hydrology study, through their stormwater group for acceptance. Separately, we kind of talked about that on our call of the difference between a connection or not. And it's really just the peak rainfall events. If you're looking at the 50, 100-year rainfall events, where is the stormwater from the site can overflow? Today, it all comes down the back of that hill, runs out the 7 driveways that we have across the site and into Hoosier Street, and finally into the catch basins that are in Hoosier Street, right? So ideally, that overflow, we're reducing the flow rate, but ideally that overflow should happen underground so nobody can see it and it doesn't pre-rate, or it doesn't promote ice buildup down the street. We'd rather have that overflow underground, but we just don't have evidence of the DOT will allow that. So if they don't allow it, the drainage patterns that exist today will be consistent for post-development. However, the flows would be reduced and treated in our unsafe system.
We haven't got any official sign off on that idea.
No, and we're probably 8 to 10 months away from
So where does that put us as far as our plan for a secret determination? We can't do anything until we get that okay from them.
So the DOT okayed the proposed mitigation, right? So, and it's similar to the stormwater discussion of with the proposed mitigation, there's no major impacts coming out of this project. That's what this board needs to make the decision on for secret is with the proposed mitigation that the town has reviewed, the higher consultants have reviewed. My understanding is that's what's needed from a secret perspective, and that can happen concurrently with DOT taking this to the next level of formal design and review. Similar to like a building permit. We haven't progressed building design and we won't until we kind of get through the discretionary approvals. And same with stormwater. It's a similar conversation with stormwater. You need a New York State DEC speedies permit. They have a design manual, they have a code that we have to meet in order to get that permit. And without it, you have no project. So
Well, DOT is also the MS4, that they're also MS4, so they have to sign off on this stormwater. When
if
you're
we
discharging
propose
into
it,
there. And,
the town will sign the sports up.
correct.
So I guess the question is, and this is the technical question playing, is you've got a stormwater plan that has, I presume, as part of its plan, some contribution to the drainage system along Route 7. I don't know if it's only on peak flows, we'll leave that. I guess the question is, will DOT accept that additional runoff? And it may not be a final construction level approval for work permits, but has there been any conceptual approval to that additional discharge into the Route 7 drainage system?
Yeah, so I need to clarify, there is no additional discharge to Route 7 drainage system, right? We're obligated to reduce flows.
No, there's no additional discharge to Route 7. They're by the general permit, they can't discharge more post-construction than pre-construction.
So that begs the question, what is DOT's question then? Why have they questioned?
They didn't like the point discharge into the catch basin. They didn't like a single discharge point into the catch basin.
And is that part of the plan? Currently?
It's currently part of the plan. We're not.
Well,
we're
I
not
guess we'll need
convinced
some
that-
clarification from DOT. I will remind the board that DOT in the past has discussed with this board, the board moving forward and making certain determinations that impact the Hoosick Road corridor without coordinating with them, whether it be a curb cut for a driveway, whether it be drainage. So, and again, that's, if it's part of the stormwater plan, I'll leave it to the technical folks. But if the current plan has been reviewed by DOT and they have a question about, it may not be additional flow, but it's the point source discharge to that Route 7 drainage, that needs to be clarified now, even conceptually. We need to make sure that the action that we're reviewing is coordinated with DOT.
What if we change the plan to show sheet flow as it exists currently? Yeah, the difference is whether we can have a pipe connection or not.
Yeah.
There's not one person in this room that wouldn't agree that a pipe connection underground is much more safe and efficient than a sheet flow across through the street. So if a sheet flow will get us to a decision quicker, we will change the plan.
Well, we're not even convinced right now that the current practices are gonna work, so we need to be comfortable with what you're proposing.
So can I say something on that too? We have 7 houses with full foundations. We have a swimming pool that was filled in with multiple detached garages with frost walls. So we're talking 4 to 8 feet below existing grade. If bedrock is a concern in those conditions, sandwiched between small little pieces, we would be seeing outcrop from bedrock right now. We haven't seen any of that in any of our.
You're also cutting the site down.
Not in the stormwater management package, we're filling the site.
No, the 2 different issues here. One with the bedrock across the site and fill and cut. That has been analyzed with the proposed grading plan. So you can see that we're kind of balancing some of the upside, we're cutting that. But we only have 4 or 5 feet of bedrock there based on those geotechnical reports. So that's limited of how much we can cut there. But then on the downstream side is the fill. So the bedrock was analyzed in the grading plan that was prepared and is a result of why the stormwater management areas had to be moved. Because as you know, the geotechnical report didn't line up with the stormwater management reports. Because we found there was bedrock in the borings, and we had to adjust those locations, which is why we did the second and third study. So the information we provided was kind of that first and second study that showed why we weren't proposing the stormwater management areas in certain areas. Now that we've kind of refined where these stormwater management areas can be, we did go out there with an excavator, we did do some infiltration testing, and identify 2 areas on the site that allow some type of infiltration. That's what we're proposing. These are big areas, and one comment that engineering had was, okay, we showed that bedrock works on one end of the infiltration area. On the second end, there may not be so much in the back. So I agree with that. We do need to verify all 4 corners of these systems work with the bedrock elevations. But it's just, again, a balance of how many times do we need to go out there and do this preliminary field testing. We're working around a lot of houses, foundations, utilities. We still haven't had a public hearing that can shape this site and land differently. So our goal, again, is to balance and agree that we will need to do the stormwater mitigation through AEC standards in order to get a permit and sign off in the sport district. But is that comfortable enough for everybody to say, let's move forward so we can get a plan or a public hearing scheduled and start soliciting feedback from the public to see if the site plan does change? Because if the site plan changes again, our stormwater management area is going to change again. So we're just trying to find that happy middle ground. And if it takes a couple more points before we're comfortable with that, that's what we'll do. That's just the approach we're taking this point.
Yeah, and that makes sense. So again, the touchstone here, and we've said it tonight, is need to make a secret determination before moving on and scheduling and holding the public hearing. To do that, the board, who serves as lead agency, has to determine that there is not the potential for at least one significant adverse environmental impact, which includes stormwater or drainage impacts. That's currently going through technical review, so Wayne can advise the board. Is there a potential for significant adverse, in particular stormwater impacts? Or based on the technical review, can Wayne say that's been adequately addressed? And I think I've heard tonight that that review is ongoing. It's advancing, but not completed. want to get to the point where Wayne can provide some guidance on that issue to the board.
Sure.
We've done a lot of work on traffic, and that's acknowledged by Wayne. The coordination with DOT and the county has been acknowledged, so we need to have the stormwater addressed.
Was there any other questions regarding the grand opening narrative or information that was submitted? We check off one of the items from last meeting, if that seems appropriate to everybody.
There's another plan.
I just have one question.
Sure.
And I wasn't at attendance at the last meeting, I just could be addressed at the previous meeting. You do plan on this site is going to be a full build out at one time, right? So the area to the east would not be available even on a temporary basis for additional staging for the Chick-fil-A grand opening, is that correct?
At this point, it's hard to say. We're balancing public hearings, approvals, leases, tenants. It's all timing, gymnastic timing. So I can't say yes and I can't say no at this point.
We did identify on that drawing that if there is, for some reason, those businesses aren't open and that area is usable for us, we could deploy that. But again, it comes down to construction schedule and a whole different process with leases and opening requirements.
All right, is there any questions on this, grand opening traffic plan? Did the board just receive this tonight? Or was it in an email? I got an email.
It was submitted earlier.
Yeah.
Well, this
Is that what last month's, maybe?
is dated August 30th on the receipt.
Oh, okay, that's what I dropped off Friday then.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on it?
Seems like a pretty part before divorce.
Well, it was part of the checklist that, they were required to submit this grand opening, traffic, plan and so forth and so on. How long do you think, this plan, couple months?
I don't think even that anymore. We're just opening the second location down in Westchester County, so a little bit away from here. But the first one lasted maybe a month, the second one lasted less than 2 weeks. For kind of that surcharge. I would imagine here between Clifton Park, North Greenbush, and Albany will all be open before we open here. It should be a relatively shorter time frame.
Okay.
Is there another one scheduled for Lakeland as well? That's not the offer.
There is, that's still going through discretionary approvals too, so it's hard to say who's going to be first.
All right. Then, Wayne, do you think you'll be able to wrap this up on this stormwater thing by next meeting?
I think there's two pieces to that, right? Is if you could get us a sketch or an idea of what additional testing.
I can get you that information in the next week.
I'm willing to meet with them on site. You can do the test works with us. And we're ready to do it.
Ethics bill too, some of his questions, if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
We can schedule that.
All right.
Can we get a copy of the correspondence that you mentioned at the beginning of this? Or is that?
Is that?
No, it's public, it's been submitted in, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a couple copies right here. This is the one that I mentioned from the Kimberly Jansen?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was coordinating with Wendy on some earlier comments that were received too.
Right.
I think that's, did we receive other ones today?
They've been noted.
Okay,
Should be in the record.
Yeah. All right, then we'll, put you on our agenda for the next meeting on the 19th.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll make some giant steps forward. All right,
That sounds good. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
okay, you're welcome. Okay, next on our agenda is riser. Oh, okay.
Hello.
I expected to see Henry's gaming face.
No, unfortunately, you get his daughter, Jessica Tenzar.
Okay,
How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Thank you.
Okay. There seems to be a little complications with this, and I think
I'm
hopefully.
hopefully gonna clear it up.
Okay. You have the floor.
Okay, so I am here on behalf of Henry Reiser, the applicant, who submitted an application for a minor subdivision and a lot line adjustment.
Okay.
So I believe he went over the map with you folks at the last meeting. You should have them, but I also have them as well.
That forward.
So essentially, this, oh, thank you very much. So the last time, I was a little more prepared. Although, for eyesight purposes, I don't know if this is gonna help much. Thank you.
I got the bigger version of the whole thing.
Okay.
You have a reduced one. This is okay.
So essentially, what we are proposing to do is, if you look here, well, look at the same map, so there is lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, and lot 4. Existing right now is lot 12, that has always been there, that's part of the 3-leg subdivision. Previously, there was a lot line adjustment done, I don't know if that was the last meeting or a few meetings ago, I think it was back in April or May, where that lot line adjustment brought it down from 72 acres down to a little over 8 acres. So that was done prior. Now, essentially what we're looking to do is, we have this lot 4, which is pretty much the remaining lands. We'd like to subdivide it so that it adds now 3 lots, and then the remaining is left at lot 4. In addition to that, there's the lot line adjustment that's being proposed, and all of that is lot 1 of Great Ledge, which is on Pennyware Lane. The lot line adjustment, just to be able to give road frontage to the proposed lot.
Proposed lot 4.
Proposed lot, yes, proposed lot 4. But it's still, oh, I'm sorry, what's that?
It's actually lot 4 and lot.
So lot 2 is, yes, I apologize. Lot 2, that road frontage for lot 2 and road frontage for lot 2. Which is the office farms market. So it's approximately about 300 plus acres, and we're proposing to put in 3 lots and then the remaining is left.
Okay, procedurally, how does this, what do we do first? We have to do the lot line adjustments first, right?
Well, it'll be done concurrently.
Okay.
Because clearly this has been proposed as one plan, even though there's 2 applications. And the 2 applications, I'll premise this by saying Wade and I took a lot of time to go through this and
Understand it?
try to understand.
I understand. I did too, so.
Welcome to the club. The lot line is a separate application because that property is owned by a third party. So it is an appropriate separate application as a lot line adjustment. In the file for the waiver application, there is a writing from the owner of the property allowing Henry to advance the waiver application.
Okay.
And then there's the minor subdivision application submitted by well, I'm not sure who the particular applicant is. It might be.
Riser, Rock Farms or Henry Riser, is that what you're?
Right.
Yes.
So just a little background, and if I am incorrect, let me know and we'll get them on the right line.
Yes.
So Wayne and I first started and looked at what's the existing conditions, because there is a lot of information on this plat.
Yes.
Rod Michael, God bless him, put a lot of information, a lot of lines on this map.
It's not as bad as it looks if you drive up there.
Oh, I'm sure on the ground,
Yep.
it's great. On the map.
You
it
can't see the
looks-
lines when you're there.
Right, yep.
So we started and looked at the current tax map. And for all of this land that's being discussed through the minor subdivision, and this is on the current tax map, I know there were things done subsequent to that.
Yes.
There are only 2 large lots. Okay? Sometime subsequent to this tax map, this board did approve the lot line adjustment to create what I'll call the homestead lot 12, okay? It's primarily what's shown here as the existing house. You'll note on here, it's lot 12, currently proposed to be 8.42 acres, okay, right adjacent to the pond. That does currently exist, even though it's not on the tax map. And we know that because if you look at Rod's plat on the right, under map references, you'll see number 6, and that's the lot line adjustment map for lot 12 revised. And it indicates it was approved earlier this year. Rod revised the map February 15th. It was then signed and indicates it has been filed in the county clerk's office. So that happened earlier this year. So even though the tax map shows 2 very large parcels, and the 2 parcels shown on the tax map, if you look at this plat, look, and someone on the board asked the question, why is there this dashed line through lot 4 that says old lot line? That's the current lot line between 2 large parcels on the tax map. It took us a long time to figure that out, why it's called an old lot line. It's the current lot line. Okay, there's only 2 large parcels plus the little homestead. So those exist. What's being proposed here is it includes taking those parts, the majority of those 2 lots, and merging them together into this remaining lot 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's 282 acres. And then also create 3 additional building lots.
Yes.
Okay. All of these lots are laid out to have frontage. So they all meet the frontage requirement, okay? And they're proposing 1 shared driveway, which is fine too, through the private road agreement. But what's the conundrum here is getting from what's there now to this, because part of this land is in 2 separate legal parcels and separate owners. One is in an LLC and one is owned by 3 individuals.
Yes.
And presumably at the end of the day, this lot 4 will end up in 1 deed merged
Correct.
with 1 owner. I don't know who that will be, but that's with 1 owner. And that's the confusing part we found. Did I go through that correctly, Wayne?
You nailed it.
You did.
Yeah, because we were looking at the tax map numbers. You know, there's 2 different tax map numbers on lot 4. And then revised lot 12 had the same tax map number as the lands of Jessica Tengar, Susan March, and Henry Rice. So
But that's because the tax map hasn't caught up with the file. That's what we figured. But we still had two different parcels that were making up lot 4. Scratching our head on that. And then we wondered why, lot 4 has this 60-foot corridor along lot 2. And we were a little confused by that too.
Oh, so,
Yeah,
this right here,
right.
it's where the road frontage to lot 4.
Well, you have road frontage on the other side next to lot 1. Or lot 4.
So,
You're gonna merge those two lots, you don't need that.
There you go.
Thought it was for lot 3.
You got road
so,
frontage here.
No.
Right.
Lot 3 has frontage on Plant Lane, lot 1 on Farm to Market, and then there's another access point that's the lot 4.
This is lot
Where that yellow shaded area.
See, that's
See how that goes to lot 4? The long shaded area?
this one, yes, yep, so that is where the easement for lot 3 to get to the shared driveway will be given from lot 4 to lot 3.
But that's your frontage. for lot
Right.
4.
Oh, so you're just asking why this is
Why do we-
partitioned off? I don't think it's so much that it's a need, it's just we didn't want lot 2 to include that property.
Doesn't that need this down?
It's not the intention to have lot 2 be that large. That would add a
So you're
significant.
connecting this piece up towards Farm to Market Road with the back acreage.
Correct. That's why it's all, yes.
You're
it's
just
all-
creating a connection.
So is it this driveway and the same thing?
Yeah.
Two driveways.
Yeah, well, there's 2 access points.
Did we agree that there's 2 access points to
To lot
lot 4? Okay.
So you,
So what confused me was, because one was going
One
to
of them is not this
the lands of Jessica Tenzar, Susan Marks, and Henry Reiser, the other one was going to the lands of Reiser Rock Farms LLC. So we
Currently,
were like,
yes.
you thought that was like a 5th lot, which would
Right.
push you into the major subdivision.
No, it is not. I think also what the struggle is because right now, since the minor lot subdivision isn't approved yet, that's what is confusing about this map, is it's showing what it will look like in the event it's approved, and the plans for thereafter. But that is the intention, is that will be all one lot.
And also discussed maybe a plat note saying that those 2 parcels are going to be merged as part of the subdivision.
It should be, and I think it's hard to, procedurally, it's difficult because the remaining lot 4 on each side of what's depicted as the old lot line it's not that they're currently 2 separate parcels, that'd be easy because then you'd understand, well, we're just merging them, but they're in 2 separate owners now. That's the, I struggle because I'm not sure if this is a 4 lot, if it's a 5 lot, they're separate owners, are they merged now, they're not merged now? And maybe it doesn't matter. This map has about as much information as you'd want, I would presume, even on a major subdivision plat, okay? So it's really not an issue of we need more information that would be required as a major. It's just there's a lot going on one map. It can be continued as a minor, but it's got to be clear, as Wayne said, that we do have 2 lots constituting proposed lot 4 remaining lands that are in 2 separate ownerships that are proposed to be merged.
Yes.
There's at a minimum has to be a very clear plat note that Rod drafts, showing that that's what the old lot line means on the plat.
Mhm.
That's an existing lot line proposed to be removed.
Mhm.
And also that the current two ownership in what is the remaining lands in lot 4 will need to be legally merged into one lot.
And that currently that other, when we say two owners, well, technically as two owners, the other owner of the lands is Henry Reiser's LLC, he's the sole member of that LLC. So
Yeah.
it's not a completely different owner, but yes,
It's not a
legally and
stranger.
on paper.
It's not a stranger, but it's a
Right.
different owner.
They know each other.
Right.
It's a different owner. And then the next thing to go over with Rod is we found the yellow shading showing the easements on the plat
Mhm.
to be, quite frankly, unnecessary and confusing.
Okay,
You're going to be handling, each of these lots will be depicted showing necessary road frontage. You can still have the reference to the private road, under Reiser's Rock Lane,
Mhm.
private road. That's okay, because it is proposed to be a private road. But when you add the yellow shading, showing the easements in favor of this lot and that lot, we thought it would be best handled simply to indicate it is through a private road maintenance agreement,
Mhm.
and that would be filed and of record when you file, if approved, the subdivision plat.
That has the cross easements on, right?
Within, and I commented to Jessica today that within the private road maintenance agreement, it should address not just maintenance, but it should provide the cross easements between the lot owners that'll use the road.
and I have a
That's-
draft here. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
that's
need-
fine. That's, you can send that in whatever, but that's gonna be the legal mechanism of record,
Mhm.
since it will go with the plat that depicts these lots, that will show each of these lots are benefited by the cross easement through the private road agreement. And it'll become part of their chain of title. It's the way it'll work. It's just, it was, we thought, quite confusing on the,
We were on the phone a good hour.
it took a while, wait.
All right.
We did also
So what's the
conclude,
planning board doing now?
well, I think what we do need is to have Rod revise this, to take some things off,
Okay,
and add that plat note about what this old lot line is, and
Mhm.
means, and that will be removed, and that the parcels then are required to be legally merged, so that lot 4 would be a single parcel in single ownership. And you can then submit the amended private road maintenance agreement.
okay.
That includes the cross easements, we can review that. And then I would presume all of this can get done and regroup at your next meeting to determine whether it's complete for a public hearing.
Okay, so we'd have to have another meeting before a public hearing.
Kind of like to make sure that the plat that's going to be available for the public
Okay.
gets a review by Wayne and the board to determine whether, this could be, I think, very confusing to the board. It was confusing for Wayne and I. We've been doing this a long time. So once it's cleaned up, then they can review it and then schedule a public hearing.
Would you be available on the 19th?
Well,
And would you have an opportunity to handle those changes made?
I will make sure it is.
I have one question about the jurisdiction there. Is that clear? Does that affect us at all?
Which one?
There's a town of Grafton, town of Brunswick jurisdiction on the back side of lot 4. Since it was an original lot, and they're not changing that area,
See what you're saying?
That's a different parcel.
it's 520 lot 4.
I think the property line goes to that one, and then that other Grafton lot, the other lot.
The study line is, outlines the 282.79 acres.
Yes.
So the main area of lot 4 includes this, other great lot.
Yes.
Oh, so there's the Grafton.
Where's the ground?
We're just at the back
on
of,
the business.
this is the back of lot 4 here. And there's the Brunswick.
And it's gotta be
Town lot.
coordinated with
Part
Grafton.
of lot 4 is in the town of Grafton.
And this would be-
So the
Unless he doesn't show
area
all
in
of
Grafton, 20+ acres, that are part of lot.
There's a-
Yeah.
Right here, see the area of Grafton. So if it doesn't affect the town of Grafton, we don't have to notify them or anything.
Well, as I look at this, it doesn't look like there's any discretionary approval sought in Grafton. That's just an existing parcel that would get merged into some land in Brunswick. But it is adjacent to and affects property there. We should at least put the town on notice that the application's been received. And if you schedule a public hearing, just put them on notice of a public hearing.
All right.
Doesn't, not proposing anything in Grafton, so it'll be
Right,
here. I think we
and
just coordinate with them, put them on
I
notice.
was just wondering if there needs to be a varying distance on that red line, that's the jurisdictional line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jurisdictional lines.
You're within, what, 500 feet of the town line you're supposed to notify?
Right.
Right, well, this will have to be, well, let's strike that. This is a subdivision. Recall in Rensselaer County that county does not review subdivisions.
Right, but we're within 500 feet of Grafton, so we have to notify them. Is that what that is, that rule?
Yes, it is, and you put them on notice of when the public hearing's going to be
That
held.
we're doing?
So nothing on our part needs to be done.
No, we'll send that, let's, yeah.
All right, Jessica, we'll see you at our next meeting in a couple of weeks.
Great, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay,
You can come to all these.
Right.
we're just plowing through this stuff
Probably will be
tonight.
now.
Okay, next on our agenda is the sole source power. Is anybody here from that?
No. They cancel. I thought did Wendy send you an email on that? Okay, yeah.
Can't see anything.
Oh, next year.
Of course, I deliberately don't even look at my email on the day of the meeting. So we'll just, get adjourned without date. Okay. Okay, moving along, next is the Bloom Hour. All right, then.
Sure, yourself, sir.
Good.
My name is Jacob Peasby. I work with Brian Holbritter. We're here proposing this re-subdivision for the Boomhauers. We're going to take the 7.22 acres that they merged after the previous approved subdivision and redivide it into the two lots that were on the subdivision that was approved in August of 2022. It's the exact same map that we proposed when we did the Whitbeck subdivision. Same areas, same lines, just re-subdividing.
Okay, Question I have is, does this classify as a waiver because this was done in 22, 7 years? We waiver it, or we discussed this a little bit today?
We did, and I don't know, I don't recall as I sit here, was the Whitbeck a minor subdivision that created these lots?
I believe it was, let me just check on that references before I say anything.
Says survey subdivision.
It's not surveying subdivision. I believe it was only 3 lots that we created plus the remainder for the Woodpeck, so that would classify as a minor.
Yeah. It's within the board's discretion then to treat it as a waiver.
Okay.
If that rule about multiple waivers within a 7-year term, right? But that presumably the prior 2022 went through full minor subdivision review.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's within your discretion.
So basically, just the long and the short of it was, they purchased the lot as one, as roughly about 7, a little over 7 acres. And now they want to redivide it back to what it was.
They purchased each lot individually and then submitted the paperwork with Brunswick County to merge the lots together,
Yeah.
which is something you can do in tax mapping.
Yeah.
And now they want to reverse what they did with that paperwork because they want to have 2 separate lots again. They were originally intending on merging them together so they could build across the property line. And now they're not going to build it there anymore, so they want to subdivide it back to what it was in the Woodpeck subdivision.
I don't
They
think,
changed their, essentially the client changed their mind as to what they were going to do.
Okay.
they're not creating any gain, or when you're just, it's not like they're building 4 more lots. They're just undoing what they did, and I don't think they should be.
So before they
Penalized
changed it,
for
did
it.
it look like this?
What's that? Before they, that, it looked like that as part of the Whitbeck subdivision that was done in August of 2022. They purchased both of the lots that looked just like this, and then they merged them together, and now they want to bring it back to how it was in the Whitbeck subdivision.
But that merger didn't come before us, did it?
But it doesn't need to. So
All right, so-
when you're merging, you're not
Yeah.
creating new lots or subdividing.
I mean, I don't have any problem with this. I mean, there's nothing changed here. Does anyone have any issues with that? I think we could actually move forward tonight. Is that fine? We would probably need a seeker.
You submit the EAF.
I do believe there was one with the application.
Yeah, it was a short one.
Okay. Yes. The application did have a short form.
I have a copy of it here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any need to drag him back here again, so. We do have to do a secret determination, right?
Make a negative declaration on the secret.
Okay.
I'll second.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now on the waiver. Anybody want to make a motion on that, to accept the waiver? And accept, there is no conditions, because there wouldn't be any, I don't think. That's the
Lot
county,
sizes, rest of the county.
maybe Rensselaer County approved for health.
That was all the change during the minor subdivision.
Right.
Just
Well,
simple
then-
map.
You can easily satisfy that condition.
Right.
The septic that were done were approved in 2022 for these 2 lots, and everything in the health department was accepted.
Okay,
It'll be noted as a condition, but one that can be satisfied.
Those permits are good for 5 years.
okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're all set. They're all set.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You want to stamp maps?
Um, I believe I do have to resubmit stamp maps to, well, with the town stamp.
You need towns. Still need towns, too.
One here.
If we collect all these, we can stamp these,
That's fine with me. There's no changes being made, so.
okay? Everybody hand in their.
Oh, that's gonna be a little later.
You want him to take these and then submit them to the office? or-
Yeah, you want to bring them or, either way.
Okay.
Do you want to just take them now and I can swing by next week or I can
Sure.
resubmit them?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Just shoot the.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I think it's.
Oh, well.
I'll just have to take them.
Have a good day. Thank you. All right, and last on our agenda tonight is CVE North America. How are you tonight?
Good, how are you?
I'm tired. Okay. I think we received a visual information.
Yes, and I have copies if anyone needs.
Okay. Does anybody need a copy of that, or did we, I think we just got it tonight from our thing. Okay. What? This is what we got tonight. I guess we'll need it.
They all look alike.
No, we did not do this.
You can-
Okay.
So, I know we still owe a slip, so then what I needed to present was the visual impact assessment and the SWIP. The SWIP is being worked on. I did want to explain, we switched the engineer that we're working with for this project. So that's kind of the delay in the SWIP. The project that is promised to me by the end of this month.
Okay.
And the visual assessment basically shows that the project is not visible from north, east, or west. The issue is the south facing.
Orientate ourselves here. Okay, the south, that would be towards Route 2. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Or, the Chesney Avenue extension.
Correct.
All right.
And the Chesney Avenue is pretty much south of its.
Right.
And that's what she's.
South.
So there's a berm here.
South end. South end.
There's a berm here, blocks the view from here. There's a tree line here that blocks the view and tree here. The issue would be along here.
About where is the, I don't know if the house is still there, the house on the property.
There is, the house is still there, and the house is right here.
Okay,
And it has been requested by the town that we take the house.
okay.
Is that the old Georgian style house?
I believe so, yeah.
Really? I'm dying to get inside that thing. Because I was like, this is it.
Well, they might be have to move it for you if you want it.
It's available at a good price.
Yeah.
Can this be seen from Route 2?
Wait, can you show me where you, where?
Route 2 would be
Down at the
Further
bottom.
south.
further south.
So, I mean, not really. The end of, If you look this map shows a 2-mile radius around the site, this being the site.
Okay, we got that in there.
Okay, and I believe it says the green is visible and the dotted rusty color is not visible in that 2-mile radius. That does not include any vegetation, that's strictly the park.
Okay.
So that's what this view shot now shows.
Where is this? Right up to the head of that.
That's toward the end, the second last page of what I just had.
And the white lines on that view shed are,
Two on.
seven?
Contour. The white.
These two big white lines?
Correct.
With that, one, two.
Well, we,
You're raised pretty well up on that hill from the Seventh Avenue. The whole line of trees is pretty much blocked, whatever
Right,
could be seen.
right, and we're leaving, this is a 99 acre lot. So we're only using roughly 35 acres. We're leaving that wooded at the northern.
And that's gonna be a separate subdivided lot?
No, the subdivision is this small portion and then the rest of that lot. And that's only due to, interconnection requirements.
now the northern part of that lot, which you have vacant, is the topo slope off?
It comes, the hill comes.
It just keeps going up?
Yes, so the topo at the top of the hill is much more steep, which is why we chose not to go on that portion.
I was just thinking, not, I haven't gone up there, but maybe if it flattens out and moving the installation further north at the back of the lot would possibly mitigate some of the visual in the south.
Right,
But
so
you said it keeps on going up and
there are topography issues up here to build on. I know there is one clearing up here that may be possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would choose not to cut down any of the trees.
Right.
as much as possible. But there is a small clearing up here that's not shown on this particular map.
And you say that people would not be able to see that from Moon Lawn?
No, and I'm sorry, is that here?
Yes.
Yeah, there's about 50 feet of trees between here.
Will it be visible from, Route 358, town of Mark, Martin
351.
51.
51, 351.
351,
We're really leaping out. Because, well, we had the one on,
You can definitely see it.
on 278,
Creek Road,
you could see that.
Urban Redemption.
Well,
when you come over.
351. And, there was some
You can see
concern
this?
about that. So,
Concerns from residents?
Yeah, residents on the
road or concerns?
say that again?
Concerns
See
from
the house,
residents on the
you can see
road
the
or
building
from
front.
people seeing it while they drive?
Oh,
yeah,
I think less of a concern from that houses.
you think, I'm sorry, I'm
Less-
not
less
hearing
against-
you.
Less of a concern that residents will be able to see it.
Who has the less of a concern, you?
Yes, I'm less concerned that it would be visible from the houses.
I don't know. I
I
think,
Again,
pretty much anywhere on Route 351, you're gonna be able to see this.
so if there's specific spots that you'd like us to address, we're happy to do that.
we talked about that. And we talked about having in this particular case, an independent, firm do a,
So that's an issue to discuss with Wayne. If he has someone on staff that has an expertise in visual impact assessment, then certainly that's within Wayne's office. The board always has the option, if it chooses, feels the need to hire a special consultant to review certain issues. The code allows you to do that as well. So the initial inquiry is over to Wayne, anyone in your office who can address and specialize on visual impact assessment. And the reason I raised this, I did mention to Russ, like, I'm involved in a project downstate now where visual impact assessment, not solar, but on a very large residential project, is one of the key issues. And the board in that case did hire through the seeker process a separate visual impact expert, and just going through those issues now. So you always have the discretion to have those technical issues addressed. Start with your engineer, review engineer, if someone's on staff to handle that. If you want to hire an outside consultant, that's within your discretion as well.
well, one of the issues, I think, is the visual impact from Route 2. And I'm only saying that because according to the comprehensive plan, where Route 7 is our commercial corridor, Route 2 is going to be the designated scenic town of Brunswick road that we want to maintain. And I think we have to get some type of visual analysis from different sections on Route 2. Now, we know somebody, Mr. Henderson and I, who owns a garage in Eagle Mills, Christian's garage. And he says, I can see that hill out the back of my thing. So people on Route 2 through there are going to see that. And I really do question the moon lawn, because I think there's houses very close to that property along Moon Lawn that are up on the west side of Moon Lawn, yes. And I think that should be addressed too along Moon Lawn. Is there anything else?
Dater Hill and Mike says you can see it from the Nemsha.
Redemption Creek, you can definitely see it.
Really?
Yeah.
See it from there.
And then Shaw Lane.
And Crick Road.
This is
Dater Hill.
right up the top of a pretty high spot in town. And there's gonna be some public input on this. So I think if we can maybe narrow down where we'd like to see some visual impact, I would, like you to do it first. And if we sense that there's maybe not some satisfied, we're not satisfied with that, to go to an independent,
Well,
or should we just,
again, you have the discretion. Again, I would start with Wayne. These are technical issues in terms of where the vantage points. There's a lot that goes into that. There's topography, there's vegetation. All of these things go into effect. You go out 2 miles, you go out 5 miles. I'm not even sure of everything that can go into that. Having someone look at the site, look at the application, look at vantage points, and they're not really just public roads, historic areas, parks, things like that. I think it's appropriate to get technical input from your consultant first to provide some guidance to the applicant as to what the board's looking for.
give us a little guidance there?
You can.
Okay.
Do you think that you have enough information based on what they provided, or do you need them?
I don't know, I have to look at it.
Would you like to coordinate with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask the roads that you had mentioned?
Oh, the roads, Route 2,
Yeah, and then 351,
351, Moon Lawn,
right?
Gator Hill,
Gator Hill, and there was another one.
Menumsha,
Menumsha.
Creek Road.
Riverview. And potentially Brunswick East Road.
From Brunswick Hills, you see that?
Well, that's, this is Route 2 here.
Yeah.
I think that's the Green Bridge, I think that's East Road. I think
Yeah.
that's what I call it, East Road.
It's East Road.
East Road.
Okay.
There won't be.
It's true. Road. That's it.
Oh, there's a buffer.
That's right. It's the one that goes from past the cemetery and then the,
Menumsha?
It would be helpful for me to have an overlay of all the roads on this map. I believe that these white lines are Route 2 and Route 7. But
You want to look at what they submitted and kind of review, the requirements for VIA, let you know if I need additional expertise.
Would you like me to wait for guidance from you, or should we go ahead and?
Because I think part of the conversation is that we get sense for them. Both of those, that's
Well, the
what.
board has asked you to kind of look at those spots,
Yeah,
so, yeah, maybe do some preliminary
absolutely.
kind of investigation.
Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Yeah.
I know a full-blown visual impact is a word. At least you can do some preliminary work. You can fix some high spots along the routes.
And again, on the issue of visual impact assessment, it's one of the standards that you review for large-scale commercial solar projects for site plan and special use permit. It's a secret issue as well, and you have potential significant adverse visual impacts. So that information should be in front of you when you're making your secret determination as well as potential action on the application.
Now, Mr. Bejan, he still owns the property, is that correct?
That's correct.
I haven't had a chance to be honest with you, to go through all this, but I just have a couple quick questions regarding, I did get something, an email regarding these panels and potential hazardous materials that may leach out of these as they deteriorate, so forth and so on. I'm just throwing things up there. I also, we're very concerned about how the site is maintained. I think in the previous CVE, they initially submitted herbicides and everything to eradicate growth and stuff like that. And once we looked at the safety data sheets on these things, we said, no, we do that.
Yes, we did confirm with our engineering team that we will not use herbicides.
Yeah. How do you plan on maintaining it?
No,
No,
Sheep.
sheep?
possibly. We do have a site in Massachusetts. that uses sheep.
Okay, is there any other questions at this time? So we'll wait there. Do you have any questions at all? Yes.
Will the board be the lead agency for seeker?
That's a fair question. Have you looked at the full EAF? I know there will be at least 2 agencies, there may be some more. The
Did a while back.
first step will be setting up lead agency coordination notes. So we'll get that underway with the board's direction.
Okay. Which,
And have,
there is zoning issues too, isn't there?
there are with the above ground poles.
Above ground poles.
Correct.
So they would be included on that.
That's right.
And in the past, we've jointly done public hearings with them.
That's correct. And you coordinated with them on that.
Coordinated
We did
with them.
mention that.
Yes.
Probably DEC would probably have to
DEC usually involved for the stormwater
be. Okay.
issue.
Because
I'm not
obviously
sure if
there's
they're
no
using
wetlands
existing
up there.
curb cut. Is there a new curb cut?
There's a small wetland.
There is,
Actually,
okay.
yes.
So Wayne and I will review that and we'll get the lead agency coordination notice out. Question for the board is, do you prefer to, you have in the past, but on this application, prefer to be lead agency?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else that we should discuss? Moving forward, do you want to be on our next meeting agenda?
I think I'll need some time. I would prefer to have some time to get the additional analysis, get the stormwater plan over,
Okay.
so possibly October.
Yeah, the first meeting in October is. Oh, yeah, I'll figure it out.
It's the 3rd.
The third?
It is.
Okay, October 3rd.
Okay.
Great. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for the applicant? Okay, I guess we're all set for this evening. Sorry you had to wait so long.
No, that's okay.
That's okay.
Appreciate the time.
Yes, thank you very much.
You did give us a report. Was this given to everybody on the,
I did, yes, and I wanted to get that to you because it was discussed at the last meeting.
Yeah.
It's analysis of the interconnection capacity left in the town.
Yep.
Most substations are full. The one we are connected to is the Sickaway.
Yep.
There's 2 transformers, so there's more capacity than what was originally presented.
I thought you were going, oh no, that's the other one, it's going to be on the other one on the.
Right, which they may be in queue. The analysis is projects in queue or already built.
Okay,
Our particular project had to be downsized, though there's capacity. There's a cable required to be upgraded by National Grid. That if it was a larger system, it would trigger a $4 million upgrade just for that cable. So it's not a feasible project to do that. In our analysis, we looked at properties that feed to the remaining capacity, and it's not zoned properly, or it's not a good site topographically.
okay. You answered my question before I asked.
I've tried to do that.
Has the capacity of that substation changed in the last 6 months?
It has not changed, but it can change. So what we cannot foresee is if a project's in queue and withdraws. There's no way for us to determine that.
Okay. All right, I guess we're all set. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our agenda. There isn't any new business.
No.
Okay. Is there any old business? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Right.
All right. We'll see you all on the 19th.